家看的是一个在建的期房，这个房子呢是客户2个月之前订购的，目前呢价格涨了2万多。这个房子呢现在框架基本上已经搭好了，后呢请验屋师来做风尘之前的检查。那今天呢就是根据那个检查报告的一些问题，建商已经整改了，我代表买家来确认一下，看看现场。
So we'll just kind of go over a couple things on the inspection report. It should just take a few minutes. So right over here, we'll kind of go over this. Right here, you just wanted a little more clearance right over here, just moving that back out a little bit. So we just move that out so that have a little bit more clearance against that piece of wood right there. Pretty easy stuff right there. Over here on the back door, I'll show you. Sorry. So we don't use anchor bolts. So we don't use anchor bolts. What we use are these mud seals, which are right here. And these are kind of put throughout the house, so you either can use anchor bolts or mud seals, and we use mud seals instead of anchor bolts. So that's why we don't use anchor bolts. On here, he was saying to add an anchor bolt, but we don't use those, so that's not something we do. We do these, which are mud seals.
Is it better?
Yeah, to me it's better. It's basically, we put the mud seals in with the slab, so it's poured in with the slab, and then they basically fold over when you put your wall panels up. So to me, that they're more secure than an anchor bolt.
Do you have one more copy?
Hmm?
Do you have one more copy for this paper?
No, I just had one, sorry. But you can have it after we're done if you want it.
Oh, okay.
It's the same thing here too. It's just talking about another one as well, but we just use mud seals, so that's not, we don't use anchor bolts. It might be, maybe other builders use anchor bolts, but we use mud seals.
Which one is that?
I like the mud seals because mud seals, so basically, say this is your slab, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we do, a bolt is basically, they're just gonna drill into your slab, and then that's how they're gonna bolt down your wall panel. Mm-hmm. So what we do is those little flaps, they are put into your slab. So when we do your foundation, we go around and we install them before it gets hardened, and we put them throughout the whole edge of the home. And then they go fold over, and then we nail them down. So to me, you're covering, an anchor is only gonna be covering like this much area when you put one down versus a mud seal, which you saw how wide this is. See how much more area that takes up?
Mm-hmm.
So that's more secure than an anchor bolt. That's why we use those. But I mean, everyone has their preferences and stuff like that too. And right here, just for fire blocking, what we do is, so all of this right here, when the inspection was done, we hadn't done any of our foam sealing or anything yet. So that's what we kind of do after insulation. So we'll take a look at that. So are y'all realtors together, or are y'all just like friends?
How do you think?
Huh?
How do you think?
I don't know, maybe y'all like a team. Sorry, say again? Oh, okay, gotcha. Because I've had some team realtors before too. Some like that are like team realtors, and they show up together. So I didn't know if maybe y'all like a team.
Yeah. Really too late.
So this will be the guest bathroom. So you'll have your sink right here, your toilet locator right here, and your shower location right here. And then you have your other guest bedroom right here. And then we have your, so like this is what your fire seal is, and it's like sealing throughout the whole area. But that's just what's done after insulation. When the inspector was here, the insulation wasn't done yet. Okay. And then, okay, so right over here, that the plate. So what this is right here, this is for your AC line. It's your copper line is what we call it. Basically, it just transfers the coolant into the box out here. He wanted us to just kind of relieve some of the pressure on the line, so we just kind of backed off the plate right there. So it's like, see that the plate goes across. That plate's for when they do sheetrock, so make sure that they don't put any holes into that copper line. So we put them. Yeah, see the copper line that goes across? So when it comes up over here, like next to the stud, so you put, you do sheetrock screws into this, right? So what we do is we put that plate up against that, so that way the sheetrock screw doesn't go into the copper. Because if you think about it, if the screw goes into that copper, it's going to make a hole, and then you're going to lose some of your coolant. Does that make sense?
I can understand. So you mean oil.
Yeah, so you see like that plate that's right there? Yeah, so that's what's to hold up the plate itself. But when you get sheetrock, when they put a piece of sheetrock up against the wood, they screw in the sheetrock, right? So what they do is they add a plate in there, and that way the sheetrock screws that go in, they don't go through the copper line. Does that make sense? But that's what on here, that's what he just wanted some of it backed off. Right here, yeah. So provide clearance and cushioning between the AC suction line and the second floor. And that's, see that picture is located right here. So we just backed off that plate some, so it wasn't like as tight on there. Does that make sense?
So then nothing changed, right? Did you change anything or not?
Yeah. So instead of having that plate like too tight, we kind of bent out the plate a little bit so it wasn't pushing up against the copper line. But you have to have that plate there, otherwise you can damage when you're hanging sheetrock. And then right here is just the other thing on the inspection report. Provide clearance, the airspace right behind it. So what we did, we just moved this out some right here, so that there is nothing that's behind it. But that's really it. That's all that was on the inspection report. It's easy stuff. But yeah, if you want the inspection report, you want to have it, you can have it. I've got another copy on my email, so.
Okay, so did you send it to the inspector? You sent it?
No, the inspector sent me this.
Oh.
This is from the inspector.
Okay.
So.
But you did some change.
Yeah.
So did you go back to the inspector or not?
No, we don't go back to. I just basically get the report, and then I go over the report with you. That's why the meeting.
I don't know what's the point.
Oh well, it's just basically what we go over on the report. That's all it is. Because typically what you do, like what this meeting would be for, if the buyer was here, you go over the inspection report, go over the items that are on the inspection report, and then we kind of just take a look at the house. I explain a couple of the features that are on the house as well. Yeah, so like, for instance, we'll go over with the buyer as well. So if you look around, what these are over here, the like little foam things that are on top of they're called baffles. You kind of see them at the edge of the home. What we do is, the baffles that are there, what they're for is you have perforated soffit on the edge of the home. So if you take a look on the edges of the home over here, if you see, you have like these little holes that are on the soffit. If you look kind of right out this window.
Oh.
Yeah, so you see like the little tiny holes that are right here? You got like a bunch of those little holes like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So what that is that's to add ventilation for your attic. So what we do is, when you put your insulation up against this, you can kind of pinch off that airflow that goes in between, because you want to keep your attic temperature cool, right? That's how you keep your house cooler. So what we do is we add perforated soffit to allow airflow up at the top. But when you have your insulation right here, you can kind of pinch off that airflow. So what we do is we add these baffles. You see the little white things that are up top? We add those to allow airflow to go up to the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just white thing.
Yeah, so they're kind of throughout the whole home on the second floor. just to help create better airflow. And you also have these air hawks too that are up in the attic as well. They're like the little black boxes that are up there.
Which box? Those box?
So you see like right over here in the edge of this, see that little black box that's up in that corner over there? It's kind of like a plastic box.
What color?
Like way back. It's kind of like a little square piece like this big, and it's got like black right back here. It's on the ceiling up there.
Oh, up ceiling?
Yeah. So what that is, it's called an air hawk that allows, so you have your airflow that's going to go up this way, and it's going to go up through the top of the roof, up through here, so it's going to create like a ventilation cycle. So it helps cool down your attic. Because you want to keep your attic temperature as close to the outside temperature as possible, right? Because your roof is going to be, your shingles are going to be darker, so that's going to be, you know, if you're wearing a black shirt outside, you're going to, you know, you're going to be hotter, right? It's the same thing with your roof, so you want to create better ventilation so your attic temperature doesn't get as hot, and it helps keep your house cooler. Also, what we do as well, one thing I like to go over too with the buyer is that we have a fresh air duct that we run. I think theirs is located right here. So you have this fresh air duct that's ran right here. So this is to the outside. So that pulls in fresh air and mixes with the plenum. Because these houses get sealed so well that your traditional older homes will have you know, natural breathing air because they're not sealed super well, right? So we pull in fresh air from the outside to mix in with the plenum. So say that your AC is set at, say, 70 degrees and it's 69 in your house. Your AC wouldn't kick on, right? Because it's under the temperature. But sometimes you can feel a little airflow that come through on these vents because it's on a fresh air timer. And I'll go over all this again when the buyer gets here again, but that's what that's for. Yeah, so this would be your fresh air duct. It's a lot of information right now, but it's typically something I go over with the buyer. But yeah, that's pretty much all the main stuff I'll kind of go over.
You explain, I still don't understand.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of information to kind of go over, but
I think you should go with the inspector.
But yeah, I can go over everything again. It's not a big deal. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'll start planning on sheetrocking tomorrow. I try to start today, but I don't know if they're gonna have enough time. But I'll start sheetrocking tomorrow. The sheetrocking phase normally takes about 10 days. So we'll start hanging sheetrock, tape, float, sand, and then texture is right around 10 days. After that, we'll start hanging doors and then trim. So right around 2 weeks, we'll start hanging doors and trim.
Okay. So what's the estimated time to
finish?
Yes.
That's a good question. It's hard to tell because you always have some type of delay. I mean, it's right now we're having a brick delay. I've got the stone, but I'm having a brick delay, so I don't know when I'm going to get the brick. It's probably going to be right around the end of this month when I get the brick. But we'll probably be looking here, and everything seems to be on schedule with the original final date. I think it was, let's see, I want to say it was like June or July, right? I think that their final date was here. But we are on track for that.
So you will possibly close the area, right?
It's a possibility, but it's pretty. Everything would have to align perfect to kind of possible to be early. But I mean, I'm building it as quick as I can. But, you don't want to rush too much. Say again?
You don't have break, right?
Yeah.
What do you show them?
Yeah, the sooner I can build it, I mean, the sooner these guys can get moved in here. They when do they plan on like? Do they have like an apartment or anything that they're have a lease or anything like that? Or are they selling a home? Or so they're ready to move in here just whenever the house is finished.
Yes.
Perfect. That's fine. So what I'll do is so I've been sending them the weekly update, like every weekly what's going on with their home. What I'll do is I'll add you to the text message, so that way you're included on the weekly update. That way if they have any questions, they can reach out to you and you can reach out to me, and I can answer any questions that they have.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good.